All right, so the next step is to take your cover pieces. Now, if you've got writing on it like I do, you're gonna wanna make sure that they're facing the right way. And this time I'm just gonna eyeball it because I know I have my spine in the center of my connecting piece. So you're gonna leave about 1/8 of an inch in there, just enough so you can get your bone folder in. So yeah, about 1/8 of an inch-ish. Again, I'm not an exact kind of girl. I like to line things up, if you can tell. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my score tape again on here. And now again, you don't wanna put your adhesive straight up against there. Leave about 1/4 of an inch or so. And this side, you can line it up as close to the edge as you possibly can, so you make sure that you have a nice strong attachment to your page. And you know what, while I'm doing this, I'm just gonna do the other side because we're gonna have to do it again anyways. And here. Again, about 1/4 of an inch or just over that 1/8 inch mark, so you don't have adhesive stuck in here because you'll end up sticking these pieces to your spine. Then you just go ahead and pick these off again. This is the most time-consuming part right here, is picking off your adhesive. Sorry, I seem to have a frog or something in my throat. So you just pick all those off. All right. And then we're going to line it up again about 1/8 of an inch. When you're cutting your paper for your attaching piece to hold your spine and your book front and book back together, you're gonna make sure that you have it the same width as your book, and about, I'd say that's probably close to, where's my 0? That's about 1.5 inches, I'd say 1 3/4 inches. So you want to have overhang, just to make sure that you have it nice and tight. So put that one right about there. Then again, I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to run my bone folder down here just to make sure that I have a nice secure attachment because I don't want anything falling apart. I really didn't get those release crystals out of that distress powder. So once you have that done, then I like again to take my bone folder and just run it down that space that we left there. And then you're just gonna fold it up. Now if you don't leave a big enough space like I just did, you run the risk of your page ripping or your book not closing properly. If you can see that, it's really tight. So you want to make sure that you leave enough space in there. But I think it's gonna work. Yeah, I think we're good. If you gently work it, it should work out all good together. All right, so then you want to go and you're going to punch holes for your binding ring. So what I do, again, just kind of eyeball it, then I mark it with a pen or with a hole punch or with an awl or something, and or a piercing tool of some sort, and I just mark my holes. So I pre-marked my holes already, and this is a really great punch for this project because it doesn't make the holes too big unless you've got one a little bit bigger, but it is too small if you just punch one hole. So what I've done is I just go through, of course it's not going to work for me today. Anyways, I've pre-punched the holes, and you know what has happened is my chipboard is too thick and it just fit with it just being the one layer of paper on there, and then with the extra layer of paper I put on there, it's not going to fit. But because I've pre-punched my holes, what we're going to do is just, I'll poke that out just so I have a hole in the other end for my brad to poke through. And I dropped a brad on the floor. Hang on, found it. Okay, so then this is the easiest part of the whole book. You just take your brad, you put it through the one hole, put it through your pre-punched holes, line it up, do the other one, put it through your pre-punched hole, line it up, flip it over, and push your brads down. What I like to do is I usually just turn it over and give it a good push down, so I make sure that they're nice and tight against the back of my book. So what you can do is you have your brad sticking out the edge of your book here, which is okay because they're easily covered up. On this book here, I covered mine up using the chipboard buttons that match the paper, that coordinate with the paper that I used for this. You can use anything you want. You can use whatever you choose. I mean, the possibilities are absolutely endless for this. You could cover them up with ribbon, with a flower, with buttons, with bling, with whatever you choose. So, and that's that. It's as simple as that. Then the binding rings just open and close quite simply. And you can add your pages. I cut my pages about 1/4 of an inch to about 1/4 of an inch smaller than my actual book, just so they fit in nicely, and so when you close your book, you don't have them hanging over like that. So I made a few embellishments to go along inside this book. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. This is the front. So what I did make, I'm not going to glue them down for you. I'm just going to show you. Oh, that is so tight. That is okay. It'll work itself in. So what I'm going to show you here is I made a piece of ribbon, and now this was just a ribbon that a girlfriend actually gave me a piece of, and it's a ruler, and all I used was the distress stain to distress it. I used the walnut stain on this. So what I'll do is I will cut it to size here. And I will end up just gluing it down. Oh, can you hear my dog barking? Someone's walking on a sidewalk. It's too funny. He thinks the sidewalk and the catwalk that runs beside our house are his, and anytime anybody absolutely steps foot on it, he goes absolutely berserk. So I'll glue that down, and I'll probably use maybe glossy accents or a double-sided my ATG gun or something to glue that down. Then I also made this little piece that's gonna go here. And this piece I made using the sewing room die from Tim Holtz, and this red piece on here is actually the Claudine Hellmuth sticky back canvas. And sticky back canvas, by the way, is absolutely phenomenal. What I used on here again was the distress stain. So I cut it out once using grunge board, cut it out again on the sticky back canvas. I used the distress stain on both the sticky back canvas and on my grunge board. Now when I did my grunge board, the color wasn't quite as dark as I would have liked it. Like, this is a really nice rich kind of brown color, and this one is the walnut stain here. So what I did was I actually covered it with the Distress Crackle paint. And when I covered it with the Distress Crackle paint, it actually brought that color out a little bit more and made it that nice rich color that you see now. This piece right here, this fuzzy is the trimmings that Tim Holtz sells also. And this I covered again with the distress stain. I was having like a distress stain day when I was doing the embellishments for this. So this one I used the peeled paint distress stain on here. And it took the color fabulously. Like, hope you can see. I think it just looks absolutely fabulous. Then I used one of the pins that have the paper holder on the end, and I just cut out one of the butterflies from the Crowded Attic paper and stuck it on there. Then also that comes with the sewing room die is a little sewing spool, so that'll go there. Then I have some of the fragments, and these are the tag fragments. So this is going to go on here like a so, and then he's got these chain tassels too that I used. So on the back of the fragment, I actually put some of the flowers or some of the butterflies from the Crowded Attic paper, and I don't know if you can see that. There's a piece of the paper that I was cutting all the butterflies out of there. They're absolutely gorgeous. And then it was really stark, like the color of this paper is quite white in comparison to the rest of my album covers. So what I did was I just took some alcohol ink and I just sponged it on there, so it wasn't so stark, it wasn't so white, and it blends in much better now. So this will hang down the side. I think I'm going to hang it down this side like this and have the little tassel hanging off. Then I used one of his stamp sets. Which one did I use? Oh, this one is the Haberdashy stamp set. And what I did was I stamped it out and then I inked it a little bit. And then it wasn't quite distressy enough for me, so I don't know if you can see that either. I used the Distress Crackle paint again, and this is the Rock Candy. I love the Rock Candy. I have to say that's probably one of my favorite. So I made two of these little circles, and one will lay here, and then the other one I'll just use a pop dot and pop it off here, so that little tag is kind of hanging out, and that'll go there. And then I did one other thing. I colored more of that ribbon, so I'm going to stick that down there. And then I used off of the Curiosities stamp set, I used this Photographs stamp, and again I used the Distress Embossing Powder on there. I used the black Distress Embossing Powder, and then I just stamped it, embossed it, and cut it out, and that is going to be the front of my album without you having to painfully watch me put it all together. And then the inside of the album, again, the pages will probably, if this is 5 by 5, I'll probably make them 4 3/4 by 4 3/4, just so they fit nicely in there. May throw a couple pockets or whatever, but that's how easy and simple it is to put that thing together. I thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye for now.